Hi guys, thanks for stopping by. This is Elaine with Lizzie Laine Designs, and I wanted to share how I do my journals. So this one, unfortunately, the back broke off, so I'm going to have to be fixing that because I like to use the whole book, not just cut it off here. So what I do is, you can see that there are staples in here, so I just take my tool, kind of scrape it, because this is all going to be covered up anyway. And I get the staple exposed. And use this tool. You could probably try a, let's see, the other one's here. This one you can see a little bit better. So I started doing this because I didn't want to have to fold up the pages once you, because if I cut it here, or if I take the spine off and cut and remove it, it's going to rip the book here, and I like to try to keep as much of the book as possible. You can also try and use a staple remover, but mine is upstairs. So I just kind of get something and go under it. I need to kind of get this exposed a little more. And see how it comes out of there. And then just pull it out. It takes a little muscle, but if you get a thing to pull, if you get a staple puller, it makes it a little easier. So we're going to be reinforcing this and covering it, so even if you do, mess it up a little bit, like that's a little messed up, but it's okay, because it's all going to be covered. Now you could probably just add cardboard as well, but I like to try to keep the whole book as much as I can. And if it doesn't come out there, then go to the back side, and you can pop these up, which is a lot easier. Just pop it up, and then it'll come out a lot easier. And you can always get pliers if you need help pulling it out. And I keep my pliers close by. I've had these pliers since junior high school. I was on a tech crew for lighting to do when they did plays, and we had to have pliers. And I still have them. And every time my husband tries to take them, I'm like, nope, those are mine. So then that's how I do it. And then you can just pull it open. And then the pages just come right off. Oops, that one ripped. This one's really fragile. This one's a lot older than I'm used to. This is, oh, it's not even as old as I thought. It's only 85. Then you got your pages, and this one has just one signature, so they're all combined together. So now it's time to do the spine, and I'll be cutting this off here, the other half. This is where the book was closed, so just flip that open and cut across there. I'm going to be reattaching that to this side, and we're going to be reinforcing and adding a little more of a spine. I don't want a whole lot because this is just one signature and it's a small book anyway. So I'm just going to add a little bit, and I'll be back when I decide how much I'm going to add and show you how I reinforce this. Okay, so first I'm going to start by fixing this piece here that came off and kind of ripped that. So I'm just going to take some stick glue so I can stick this back on here. So then that keeps that back. Then I'll be putting something on here just to help reinforce it. I'll probably put some, I'll find something that matches and put it down just to keep it reinforced. I'll probably reinforce all these pages. Probably maybe glue down some washi tape because it's pretty thin. And I would just want to make sure it stays together and doesn't fall apart on whoever purchased it. Okay, to start, I'm going to take some glue, and I'm using Fabric Fusion, Leine's Fabric Fusion, and I'm going to take and put a little along the edge here. So I can stick these back together, and that's why I got my non-stick mat under here. So we're gonna push this together and smooth out the glue, anything that bubbles out. Check the other side real quick. Okay. And I'm going to hold that together. Okay, and as you can see, it's attached. Just takes you a little bit of time to hold it. You can use clips to help hold it and give it some time to dry. So we're going to let this dry a little bit, and then I'm going to start working on the other half. So this one is a little bit ripping, so I'm going to take a bead of glue, same glue, just go down this seam and push the glue into the spots that are kind of coming apart, and push that together as well. So we'll let this dry, and then I'll be back in a second. Now after you put the glue in, if you got like some paper that is overhanging, you want to make sure that you get that and push it together so it holds together. And I use these smaller clips, or I have smaller ones too that I use sometimes, but I don't have those handy, so just kind of clip it, and then I'll hold it with my other hand and kind of push it together and tighten it back up. That way it gives, it helps it hold it in place so it can stick together. So this one's okay enough to start working on it. And if I bend it or anything, it's going to come apart, but I'm going to start putting stuff to help it hold. So we're going to go ahead. Okay, because I do applique, I have all these scraps of stabilizer, and it's real fibrous, so it's really good. So I use this, but then I was cleaning it up and I found this one. This one's a little stiffer. I'm not sure why I have it. I had it from when I was a kid. My mom had it or something, but this one's really good and fibrous, and it's a little stiffer. So I'm going to be using this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Fabric Fusion and cover this piece real good. I want to make sure this is straight. I don't want it to be crooked. The ends I don't care about because I can turn them off. So I want to cover this whole piece. I want to make sure it's really good and reinforced. And put it in the part that you filled in. Make sure you get that crack real good. And we're going to lay this on here. And the glue's going to come through it, so that's going to help it really bond on there really well. The inside, I'm going to go a little farther. The outside, I won't go as far in because I want to preserve the outside, because you can see here's the line, and that's where I don't really want to cover that up. I'll only go a little bit in on that. But the inside won't matter as much, at least to me. So I make sure I smear this all around really well. Make sure it gets in there so it sucks it down. And then we'll let that dry. And this side should be better. So that's good. And we'll go ahead and do the other side as well. Okay, and then we'll put this side down and do the same thing. Okay, we'll let this dry and I will return. Okay, I took my heat tool and to help dry it some. It's not completely dry, but I want to go ahead and trim these edges. So I just go around it like so. Trim it off. And if some of this isn't stuck all the way, I'll just go back and add some more glue to it. This is a little bit of a process, but it works well for me. And it gives it a good reinforcement. So I like that as well. So there's that so far. I'll go ahead and do the other one. Those because I can use those for reinforcement too. You can see here it's already kind of stiff. It's not really moving. I got all that good glue in there, and this is helping to hold it. So once that really gets hard, because I'm going to be doing a couple more layers, where I'm going to have another layer of reinforcement and then the fabric over it for that's going to go all the way around. So we're going to let this continue to dry and start working on some other things. Okay, now I've got these together. This one's still not all the way dry, or one of these aren't. I think that one's all the way dry. You can see I can hold it and it stays. So it's starting to already get tight, firmed, so it doesn't bend. Still waiting on this one to dry. I did take my heat tool to it a little bit. But I want to go ahead and move on to the next step. So now I have a piece of cardboard, or this one is actually this one's actually a piece of chipboard. So this one's a little heavier, so I wanted to use it, and it's pretty good. It's pretty much the same thickness as the book, so that's why I'm gonna use that. And I cut this at 1.5 inches by the length of the book. So we're gonna go ahead and add this to the book. So what I do here is I have some muslin, This is cotton muslin. And I'm going to attach it here and here with a little bit of space in between the two so it can bend and open. A lot of times what you want to do is get one or two pieces of this and put it between so you can get your distance, so you can get a good width. But I'm just going to eyeball it because I don't need a whole lot. So I'm going to start by adding more of my fabric fusion to the book. And I'm again going to go just as far as my other, the other stuff I put down there. And you can hear it's really getting hard and solid. It just takes some time to dry. I'll put that down on here. Let me put it this way so I can see where my line is. And the glue is going to like come through it, but just like it did the other stuff, but it's alright because we're going to cover it with more fabric. This is just going to help hold it and reinforce the spine. So let's see. Go ahead and put this on here. Try to get an idea where I want the glue. Okay, we'll flip that over and lay it right next to it and line it up good with the top and bottom. That looks good there. And I do several layers, so it's going to really be sturdy because I'm going to do another one here. So we're going to have two, and then I'm going to put another one around it all, and then it's going to get more fabric. I like to make sure my book stays together for a long time. I don't want it down the road to fall apart on somebody. So let's go ahead and do this side. Oh, yeah, put this down here. Smooth it out, flip it over, and we're going to go ahead and do this whole rest of this piece since it's going to go behind that. Okay. And I'm going to be flipping this over for more reinforcement. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and glue this part down. Actually, I probably should put this other piece on. I'm going to go ahead and put this other piece on first. This one we want to go to here and then flip that over it. And this one we're gonna want to be a little more true to size. So we'll glue this. I might have went too far over that glue. Now we're good. Then you're going to want to get something and push this down. This is going to be where your bend is. So that looks good. Okay, now we'll flip this one over. Oh, there's enough on there because we're going to have more on it anyway. And again, push this down in here. And you can just wipe over this, and any glue that's remaining, just go over the top. This will help harden it. It'll soak into it and help keep it really good. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and I will be back. Okay, I had a couple little pieces, so I just stuck those down on there for more reinforcement, because I'm going to be putting another piece over that as well. So we're going to go ahead and do the outside. So I have another strip here. This is 2 inches. I'm going to start here, and then I'll add more to go wherever I miss. This glue hardens really well. It makes a really good thick coverage, and it hardens good, so it makes it really stiff, makes the spine stiff. That's what I'm trying to say, makes it stiff. So I need to add a little more here. Now we can use a little more under here. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of bend this. So let's see. Should have had that over a little bit more. I mean, it's okay because we're going to have another piece of fabric over it, but let me realign it here. Because see, there's my bends, and I had more of the fabric on the other side. Now I got more on that side, so I need to move it over a hair. So there. Now when it bends, we got a little bit on both sides. Okay, I'm going to add some down here on the edge, because when it goes over, I'll pick up the other glue there. So I want it to stick on here really well. And then again, get a tool and push this in. Push it down hard so it makes a good, so it sinks in there really well. Okay, we're going to do the same on this side. And do it again on this side. Because we're going to have a lot of layers in here. So we want to make sure that it bends because it's going to get really stiff. Okay, I'm going to lift it up and kind of bend it a little bit and let it dry this way. Hopefully I have enough room in between. And you have to recheck everything after you bend it because it tends to loosen this up if it's not all the way dry. So I felt mine pop a little bit, so that's why I'm going back over it. But you want it to be open when it dries because otherwise it's going to stick together. Okay. Now we'll just let that dry and I will return shortly.